kiss for you.
James Watt was a Scottish inventor born in Greenock in 1736. It was whilst Watt was working as a mechanical engineer and instrument maker at the University of Glasgow that he was asked to repair a working model of Newcomen's steam engine. He came to realise that Newcomen's engine design was less than efficient. With every stroke, energy was being wasted as a condensing cylinder was being repeatedly heated and then cooled. Watt's solution to this problem was to build a steam engine that incorporated a separate condenser. Watt sporadically developed his engine between 1763 and 1775, and as we can already see, there's a little bit more to this than that of Newcomen's engine, so let's take a moment to examine its main features. It's the combined furnace and boiler that produces the steam, which is then transferred through the steam pipe to a series of inlet and exhaust valves, which in turn are connected to the piston cylinder. The piston is connected to the beam, which operates the rotary arm, one end of which is a static cog known as the planet, and that appears to rotate about another cog known as the sun, and it's this sun and planet gears which operate the flywheel. We also have a cold water tank and a hot water tank. In this cross section we can see that Watt's engine is double acting. That's to say that steam enters the cylinder at each end alternately, forcing the piston up or down. This process is controlled by the engine's valve gear, shown here in this cutaway. Active steam alternately enters the valve systems at these points here, whilst the exhaust steam exits the system through these pipes, all of which is controlled by a plug tree or rod, which is again linked to the beam. Here we can see the exhaust steam pipe leading into the cold water tank, in which are housed two cylinders. This is a separate condenser, and the other is a pump which extracts the condensate into the separate hot water tank, which then recirculates back to the boiler.
The Wright Brothers, the first successful airplane, 1903. Wilbur Wright was born on April 16, 1867 in Millville, Indiana, and Orville Wright was born on August 19, 1871 in Dayton, Ohio. Both brothers were pioneers credited with inventing the first airplane. In late 1901, the Wright brothers had gathered the aerodynamic data they needed to build a successful flying machine, and in 1902, the Wright brothers had built their latest glider based on this data. They had identified a wing shape that was efficient, producing the expected lift, and engineered controls that were responsive. The glider would also use a trailing rudder for yaw, therefore enabling the Wright brothers to navigate in the air in all three dimensions. Following this success, the next stage for the brothers was powered flight. No manufacturers could provide an engine light enough and powerful enough for their needs, so the brothers had to design and build their own. The Flyer was designed in a biplane configuration with a wooden airframe and a wingspan of 12.3 meters or 40 feet 4 inches. The pilot flew on his stomach on the lower wing, steering by moving a cradle attached to his hips. This cradle pulled wires which warped the wings and turned the rudder. The Wright Flyer 1, based on the previous glider, was set up near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in the United States of America on December 17, 1903, where there was a hill and a good breeze. The first flight lasted 12 seconds, traveling 36 meters or 120 feet with Orville piloting. 3 more flights were made on that day, with Wilbur achieving the best flight, covering 255.6 meters, or 852 feet in 59 seconds. The Wright brothers had made history with the first successful flight of a controllable, self-propelled, heavier-than-air machine. Over the next few years, the Wright brothers developed new flyers while remaining secretive in an attempt to secure patents and contracts.
A long time ago in 1885, someone named Carl Benz decided he was going to invent the car. So he did. This scared everyone because technology was made by witches and the devil. One day, someone said, let's put a horse head on top of the car to make people less scared of cars. It turns out that horse heads on cars is still scary. As time went on, people got used to cars, and they started to invent technology to make them better, like an in-car record player and something called a chin alarm, but none of them worked. In the 1950s, cars got safer because of seatbelts. In the 1970s, cars got more dangerous because of primitive airbags and Ford Pintos. In the 80s, cars came with CD players. In the 90s, the Oldsmobile 88 was the first car with navigation. Mercedes introduced emergency brake assist in 1998, and the Acura TL was the first car with Bluetooth in 2003. In 2005, tests began on self-driving cars, and by 2013, nearly every major manufacturer
The age of instant communication was born on January 11, 1838 in Morristown. It was on that date that Samuel Morse and Alfred Vail first demonstrated the electric telegraph at Vail's Speedwell Iron Works. The telegraph was nothing short of a revolution, enabling messages to be sent much faster than previous means, which relied on messengers riding on horseback. Rapid communication served as the foundation for the nation's economic expansion in the 19th century. New Jersey was at the center of the new telecommunications network, linking the major cities along the East Coast. The electric telegraph went on to play a key role in developing New Jersey's reputation for innovation. Thomas Edison's universal stock ticker and his quadruplex telegraph, enabling 4 messages to be sent on a single wire, incorporated the new technology. Edison's successes with these inventions provided him the means to build his renowned Menlo Park research facility. And it all started with the dots and dashes of the electric telegraph.